Okay. So go on, introduce yourself, Mr. Joseph.
I'm Joseph Guillory, and I'm running for Justice of the Peace here in Port Arthur, Texas. I am the Democratic nominee for the party who won on March 1st, 2022 of this past year. We won the primary, and now we're approaching the general election here in November. Early voting is going to start October 24th through November 4th. Election day is going to be November 8th. So I just want to make sure I communicate that up front. I'm here doing an interview, and we want to have some in-depth conversations on reasons why we're running. And hopefully I can explain some of the things that you need to know about this election, and hopefully we can get into that now.
Okay, I see here on your card, man. You got a strong resume right here, man, and it's very impressive. So kind of run some of these things down to the people and let them know, your recipe. Let them know your recipe, man. Why you feel like you should be the one elected.
I'm a 1986 graduate of Abraham Lincoln High School here in Port Arthur. Born and raised right here. My roots are here. Everything that says Joe Guillory is here. If any of you can remember, if you're old enough to remember, there was a store called Western Auto in Jefferson City, where I managed that for 5 or 6 years. I was with that particular facility, and then moved to Houston. Anyway, I ended up as one of the top managers in the company. That job led me into my next career move, which was with Ace Hardware, where I stayed there about 8 years. So between the two, that's 15 years of corporate management under my belt. I went to Ace Hardware as a consultant. Not knowing anything about consulting, I was able to adapt, learn, made the adjustments. My first year, I was recognized as Rookie of the Year. And I'm not saying that in a braggadocious way, because it was 300 consultants. And out of those 300 consultants, I was only African American. So when you up against that scenario, it's important that you shine. I did that. They recognized it. Next year, I became Retail Consultant of the Year. So that's back-to-back years that I was successful at doing a job I knew nothing about. It was because of my commitment and passion to do the work, do the research, commit to the process, understand the requirements. If you don't have at least some understanding of what this job of Justice of the Peace is and what it does for the community, then you had a loss already. And we're at a disadvantage if we don't elect someone that at least has a working knowledge or a willingness to put in the work and a proven track record doing that as well. Former law enforcement, I spent some time at St. Tammany Parish Sheriff Department where I was a deputy. I enjoyed that. I realized that necessarily wasn't my future. And I have a great appreciation for what law enforcement officers do in our community. They keep us safe. That's their responsibility. I saw something brighter. The last 22 years of my life, I've been spending it as a self-employed entrepreneur, running a trucking company. I've been very successful. I'm very happy. I'm good. We've done things in this community, and I've been consistent about doing something in the community. I'm currently working with an organization called Project Life Change. This organization is a mentoring step for our young kids. That means we can get in contact with them at an early age, give them some motivation, inspiration, and some common street knowledge. Talk to them about things that relate to them. And then we talk about some of those imperfections that we experience as young people. Our kids need to see that it's okay. You might stumble, you might mess up, but then you can recover. So the commitment that we put into this community, it shows through the work that we're involved in. Not what I plan to do, it's about what I'm doing. And back in 2017, we took our kids to the NFL experience out of our own pocket. Our kids that we coached, we thought it was important enough and valuable enough to do so. And we want to make sure that they were exposed to something other kids are normally exposed to. Our kids sometimes get neglected. So we took that extra step, and I want to say special shout out to Coach Brad, because Coach Brad has been really dedicated for over 30 years to our kids. And if we can get more young adults, Black African Americans to come and step up and devote some time, we can collectively make a difference in the lives of those kids. It's important. A lot of our kids that I'm counseling and I'm talking to, they don't have it as good as you have. Some of you may be balling out of control. Some of our kids don't have a house to live in, don't have a family to call family. There's a whole bunch of conditions that they're living in and they have to deal with every single day. So being just at peace, you have to have an understanding about those conditions. You're going to make a decision to help somebody. They come to that courtroom. Listen, Mr. Guillory, Judge Guillory, I'm having a difficult time in my life. And I can look at that kid and say, you know what? I understand because I was there. But let me help you. See, I'm not going to tell you to pull up your bootstraps. I'm going to give you a pair of boots. Right now, I'm one of the instructors over at Lamar State College here in Port Arthur. Working through the Lamar works through the workforce. The workforce provides a grant that will allow your child, 18 or older, to sign up, earn your CDL, and go out in the world and make something. We need more people talking about how we're going to help our kids instead of penalizing our kids. Sometimes a little help goes a long way. And what I want to do and what I'm advocating and what I want to share with you is just consider that when you go to the polls. Let my work speak for itself. If you don't like my work, I'm cool with that. If you don't appreciate the commitment level to understand what our needs on this commitment, I'm good with that too. But what I do know is that if we allow the same people to continue to occupy these seats, it's what they call it. They got a name for that. When you continue to do the same thing over and over and you expect a different
result.
A different result? Yeah. That's the definition of what? Insanity. And it's insane for us to continue to go through the same thing over and over. People that we elect, they give us our lip service and no substance. I'm putting stuff on the plate for you to eat. And I want everybody to be able to experience this. And, you know, I had it pretty good. I had both of my parents. I thank God for that. But there's some kids in this community, they don't have the same opportunity. They didn't have the same experience. They didn't have the wealth of knowledge that my daddy was able to pass on to me.
Hold that thought, Mr. Joe. I want to say this here to the people, man. You know, I just want y'all to be considerate and mindful, man, who you voting for and how you vote. If somebody work, R-O-R-K, I mean double, W-O-R-K. If they work, gonna show they work, then hey, man, how can they be denied? You know what I'm saying? And me personally, I can't vote for nobody who ain't walked in them shoes, who don't know what it is to relate to somebody who don't have. And this man here, Mr. Joe, from my understanding, you know, from my homework and research, this man has been there and done that. So how can we deny this man? This man is the truth. This ain't nobody who you put in a mechanic shop who said they was a mechanic, and when you put them in the shop, they don't know how to perform. So this is what we dealing with during this election here, man. So y'all be mindful, man, of how you vote and who you voting for. Don't let your emotions and the mindset of relationship cause you to make the wrong decision, man, because this not what this is. Because you got to be mindful. These are your kids in these schoolhouses who going to be dealing with truancies and getting in trouble and all this here. And hey, you got to be mindful who he gonna face. Somebody with no understanding or somebody with overstanding. And from my experience and my research and homework, Mr. Joe does possess that, man. So y'all be mindful of that. I'm going to get a flow back to Mr. Joe, man.
And what else y'all want to talk about? You know, you hit on a key thing about truancy. Now, let me educate y'all so that you understand. The school district, I currently serve on the school district, been serving since 2015. I set out about a year and I came back. The school district has already put some things in place already to assist our kids to comply as far as attending school is concerned. So those things are in place. The cases that we're dealing with, not necessarily dealing with truancy as much as it is dealing with fights, dealing with vaping, dealing with those type of things that we're dealing with and we're talking to our kids. Because, you know, people, I don't want to say this here, our children have been targeted through advertisement and they have been encouraged, and a lot of them are doing some harmful things to themselves. So we have put some things in place, including things like vapor, smoke detectors, vapor detectors in our restrooms and stuff, only to keep our kids safe, not to tell them what they can and can't do. But, you know, if you're doing it, we want to make sure that we at least have an opportunity to have a conversation, educate you on those issues. And then again, you still have a choice to do what it is that you do. So we don't want to ever, infringe on your right, but at least we want to give you an alternative look or perspective. So looking at that, looking at some of the things that the kids that I'm mentoring are talking about, some of the things they're not even having this conversation with their parents. You know, clothing, having a responsibility. Let me tell you, I talked to one child, and I tell you, it almost brought tears to my eyes because he is a child doing grown folk things. And I'm like, wow, you know, where's the rest of the family at? You know, and so we got to talking. He has to lay out the medication for his mother. He has to comb his sister's hair and get her ready for school. He's got to go do and look after his daddy to make sure his daddy get turned over or something of that nature. Then he has to do his homework and then cook and all these things that he has this responsibility that no child should have. And then he comes to school and then he gets met with opposition, and it's like a time bomb. It's not his fault, it's his condition. So we got to find a way to start treating the condition instead of the child for some of the mistakes and errors that they're making. We got to be compassionate, and everything that we do has to be from love, not a punitive perspective. You can't have a zero tolerance level on behavior because it's not justified, because you don't know or understand why he did it. Now, when we talk about murder and all these other things, well, the law is clear on that. Can't do anything. But we're talking about first-time offenders, kids that are marginal, kids that need additional structure. We can start mitigating some of those issues early on, like we're doing now through Project Life Change. It's important that we get more people and recruit. So let me put this out there. For those of you who are watching and you want to become a mentor, and all you have to do is reach out to Port Arthur United, Eric Jones, Reverend Chapman, because Project Life Change is an organization of ministers. And if I didn't tell you, I'm a minister at Rock Island Missionary Baptist Church here in Port Arthur, a very good church under the leadership of Elder Kevin Domingo, a dynamic teacher, pastor, preacher, friend. Key word, friend. You come and visit with us and experience some of that love. But anyway, as we move into this responsibility of the JP office, we were talking earlier before we came on air. We started talking about the senior citizens aspect of this office and how they have been overlooked and underappreciated. We should do everything we can to protect our seniors. These are the same seniors that used to volunteer in school, used to help you with your homework, that used to come over to your house. We all have a senior somewhere, and we need to show them some love and appreciation. But as far as this court is concerned, here's what I want to tell you. If you have a senior that's living in a senior facility and the living condition is not up to par, there's something you can do. It's called remedy and repair. Say, for instance, bed bugs. That's something you do. You come in, you take your snapshot, you got your proof, you file your lawsuit in this court. Now that's something I want y'all to do a fact check for me. Find out how many remedy and repair lawsuits have been filed in the Pct.2 court. When you do that, holler back at me and we'll talk. Because as I understand, it's very few to none. More like none, but I didn't want to say none because it's absolute. It may be one. But if 1 out of 12 years, that's a problem. Because the landlords that we have in this community own all these apartment complexes. And we're going to talk about this in a minute, why these people are not being held accountable. But if you file this lawsuit, you allow the court system to work on your behalf, bring the landlord into court where the judge will have opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation about those issues that are affecting your living conditions. And then he'll give adequate amount of time to get those things resolved, or he could face a fine. So when you hear your local city government tell you that there's nothing that we can do, or we've been down there, we've been working with them over at W. Collins and this, that, and that, I'm telling you that is untrue. That there's something that you can do, there's something that should be done. And then when you start looking at these relationships, this is why they don't want Joe Guillory in his office, because Joe Guillory has something that you need that they don't want you to have. Can I tell you what that is? A voice. An independent voice is not dictated by the monopoly. That's not dictated by special interest groups. I don't need their money, right? I don't need their favor. Yeah, I'm gonna work with them because you got to work with everybody in this office. You know, everybody that was opposed me in the previous election, I'm gonna work. I'm gonna do my best to help them at least win them over and turn our situation around. Now, the one thing that you're gonna know about me, I'm strong-willed, got my own mind, and it'd be pretty much impossible for me to flip over. Now, we had some people that would flip from a Democrat to a Republican. When you look at this big boy right here, the only thing I'm flipping is a steak.
Look out, Joe. I had a conversation with two guys earlier, man, and we was talking, me, Chuck, and one of my friends that's incarcerated. And, you know, he gets on here. I am let him talk. You know, this is where getting out and putting his words into his wisdom into the universe through this here, through Real from the Trill. But we was talking about school. Like, I brought the situation up about the memorial the other day. The gun they found in the guy's gym. Oh, you don't know about that?
No, we know about the other incident. It was we were alerted that after an incident had occurred, that memorial needed to be wired because they sent a picture of a gun. It was something on social media. But now, what they found, I didn't know anything about that. So share that with me.
Right.
Because somebody didn't. Let me tell you, sometimes we don't all, as board members, sometimes we may not get all the information. So we get this firsthand. This is the first that I've heard of it. Go ahead and tell me about it.
Yeah, they say they found a Draco in the guy's gym.
What's a Draco?
You don't know what a Draco is?
Man, help me, man.
That's a.
Oh, that's an assault.
Right.
No.
Right.
No, I got it right here. That's a picture on the internet. They said it was an old picture. Now, they did share that with us about that. So maybe it is, maybe it's not. But based on the information that we received, it was an internet post that suggested, but we never found a physical.
Oh, okay.
The physical gun or anything in the school, but it was a picture of it after an incident that had occurred. So some of that may be true. You know, some of it has
it did spark a good conversation though. As far as I was saying, like, situations in school, bullying. We gonna talk about bullying. Okay, you becoming a justice of a peace officer. How would you better them conditions under them conditions of bullying? Because we know we got a lot of kids that deal with that, and sometimes that cause the criminal acts off in the school zones. You know what I'm saying?
So I want y'all to think about a couple things when we talk about bullying. You went to school, and you had the kid that always did a lot of talking, and you had the kid that did a lot of physical, and you got to start looking at those things at the home. Some things that have caused some of those conditions or activities that they've experienced at home. So, and it's not any slight to anybody, but you see kids today talk a lot. They talk a lot. They just talk a lot. They got a statistic saying that women talk twice as much as men. I don't know if it's true or not. I just got that statistic, and when I heard it, I said, "Wow, that's incredible." Because they were trying to make a comparison about our young men talking, and instead of listening and doing, they're doing a lot more talking. So what does talking do to the average man? It's irritable. That's the one power that women have over us that, for whatever reason, it sends us out the room. I did my wife, man, when she started talking, ooh, I listen, but knowing how kids are growing up, they're not as hard as we were when we were in school. Because we didn't have a problem boxing. Boxing was something that was second nature. If you couldn't box, then you're gonna get picked on all the time. Today, they're not boxing. They're not doing none of that. They're going straight for the gap. They're gonna do what they're gonna do out of fear because they don't have any homeboys. They're independent. They by themselves. They're trying to fit in. On average day, the kids that we talk to, when I went, mentioned to some of the kids over at the Minnie Rogers Detention Center. These are young kids. We talking just like my kids at home. And they probably wouldn't have done it if it wouldn't have been as much peer pressure on them or the environment or a whole lot of other, but they did it. They took it that far because they didn't have any other way to deal with those issues. So what we want to try to do is provide them with other anger management ways to deal with some things. Right now, this city needs a boxing academy. We need some other facilities that will allow our children to be able to express themselves, to maybe learn how to use their hands. We may have the next Golden Glove contender right here in Port Arthur, but we'll never know until we get somebody that's willing to put some time into the kids and develop that skill. You know, karate. Karate was always the thing that I enjoyed the most coming up. And I had some of the best teachers. And, you know, I was pretty good. You know, I got a few trophies and stuff and a few competitions I went through. But if our kids could get exposed to that, because it taught self-confidence, number one. And that's what you want to teach our young men, is to be self-confident. I, myself personally, I've never been a hang-around, and I never stayed around long enough for you to hang around. So I never needed that support. You know, whenever I embraced the situation, I was able to deal with it. I didn't rely on my friend jumping in. I was the one always probably trying to assist. You know, Proverbs 31, 8, 9, it says that we have to fight for those who don't have a voice, those who can't fight for themselves, those who can't speak for themselves, and then we got to take care of the needy. Now, I paraphrase that, but that's the gist of it. And that's a core belief for me, because one of the things that we have to start fighting for is our children and our seniors. So if our children will ever grow up to become an adult, we got to give them at least a chance to experience life before they take a life. So there's a lot of different reasons for our kids falling into traps. But here's what I want to tell you. If you see the trap, it's not a trap. If you can see the trap, what am I saying to you? If you know it's wrong, most of you know some things that we do, it violates the code. We shouldn't do it. Okay? So keeping that real, understanding that some of our conditions are self-inflicted. What we want to do is instill in our kids that sense of inspiration, where a motivation, something that they can fall back on. They need to have that, because when you don't have anything else, you got self. And self can change a lot of things. You want to change your neighbor, how he perceives cutting his yard, start cutting your yard and cut his yard. And before you know it, he'll be out there helping you weed the flower bed. Sometimes we have to lead in this community by example. And that's what I'm presenting to each and every one of you today. I'm that kind of leader. Everything that I've done is attached to leadership. 35 years ago, 1986, it was an article written by me. And it says, Guillory, lead by example. And so what does that mean? Well, you know, I was a pretty decent football player, undersized, but what you couldn't take away from me was the heart that I had for what I did and the commitment. The position I held after you know, from ninth grade on up, by the time I got to a senior, it wasn't real gratifying. I couldn't score a touchdown and all that, so I wasn't going to get all the notoriety. But here's what I'll tell you. The ball couldn't move until it went through me, and I had a responsibility. And we went on to the playoffs. We did pretty well. I got first team all district. You know, I was recognized. But what I was recognized for was not what I was saying, rather what I was doing, which is symbolic to why I'm running for justice of the peace. I'm putting in the work to make this community better. I just need you to see the value in what we're doing and join us, because we are being trapped. We've been bamboozled. I'm telling you, if you vote based on name recognition, based on friendship, relationship, and all those other favoritisms, and all those isms, you're going to set us back. Let me tell you what's going to happen. The city is going to lose its representation. We have already lost 2 high schools, 3 high schools down to 1 high school. What did that do? We lost pride. We lost citizens in the community. We lost economics in the community. We lost talent in this community. Why? Because the options that they once had, they don't have anymore. We've relocated a complete community off the west side of Port Arthur. If you don't see the pattern of how all your resources is being stricken, slowly taken away from you, I don't know what else I can tell you. No matter what I tell you, then if you just love somebody that much and you just got to vote that way, then, you know, God bless you. But here's what the thing. Whatever happens over the next year to come, the next years to come, it's going to be your fault, good, bad, or other. because you have to make that decision. And if you choose wrong, who you gonna hold accountable?
Right.
And if you don't participate in the process, who you gonna hold accountable? What excuses are we gonna have? That's all I'm asking. You need to do the right thing. I'm gonna do my best to do the right thing, and I'm gonna expect you to hold me accountable. I'm accessible. I provide it everywhere in Port Arthur. My phone number is everywhere, whether it's on my portable buildings, whether it's on Facebook, social media, on a card. I've knocked on every door just about. And if I hadn't, send me an inbox. I'll come by your house and talk to you personally why you should participate in this process. But I have done everything I can to communicate to you. You proved to everybody in this city that you wanted to see a change. You did that on March 1st. I'm just asking you to do it again on October, which is Monday, this Monday coming, October 24th. Let's not leave anything for chance. Let's make this a landslide victory because we need to send a clear message. Obviously, they didn't get the message in March. We need to send a clear message in this election that we don't want that anymore. Popularity, you've been ripping us off. Hey, it's over. It's time for something else, something new, something fresh, something that we all can get behind and that we all can share in. Because how has it worked? And I want you to just think about this for a minute. We got the largest refinery in North America. And we got the highest poverty level right here in Port Arthur. Highest unemployment. So explain to me, how is it that other communities around us are flourishing? Makes no sense, huh? It's because you're not voting. And who you're voting for, you better do a better job of vetting who you're voting for. You need to educate yourself. Find out who are their friends. I mean, you need to get in depth to find out who their friends are, who they're related to. Because relationship and friendship ruins everything.
Right. Yeah, you just said a mouthful because I've been trying to figure out how can a little town outside of Port Arthur, Needland, Texas, outshine Port Arthur. And how is they building up Needland more and more every day? And Port Arthur ain't doing nothing.
Because the people are moving to Needland and those areas. Why? Because they feel it's a better school district. They
it's
feel
safer.
It's safer. And that, you know what? That's an illusion. That's an illusion. We don't have any problem. I've been here my whole life. Yeah, everybody gonna have ACA. We're gonna have people that's doing their thing. But it happens. It doesn't just happen in Port Arthur, but it's highlighted on 6 o'clock news that it happens in Port Arthur. You see somebody that look like me on the 6 o'clock news. I'm just saying, you don't see everybody else.
So let me ask you this, Joe. What qualifies you? What would you tell the people, or what can you tell the people to make them feel like it's cool to vote for Joe?
Well, big boy like to eat. So, all jokes aside, being a family man, a father, I have 2 kids in the Port Arthur Independent School District, and they're succeeding. And I have a lot to do with that. So I want for your children the same thing I want for mine. And that's at least to have a chance at a future better than the one I had. And I've had a great life. I don't have any complaints. My parents were there for me. I want to be there for your kids. And that's what makes the difference between me and my competition. I have the experience. I've done the work. I've demonstrated that. I have a wonderful, beautiful family. And just because you don't see all my friends, raising a roof, it don't mean they're not going to support. So we're going to see what you're going to do. Those that didn't participate, those that didn't vote for me the first time, it's on you. How you want this city to be. So after this is all over, when it's all said and done and the dust settles, whatever happens, happens. And I'm cool with it one way or the other. It won't make or break me because I'll go on and continue what I'm already doing. So that's the confidence that I have, that I don't want the city. I was listening to something, I even put it on, it was kind of inspirational. Deion Sanders had this interview where he was talking to this other guy, and he said, you know what? The guy said, what is that I smell? Deion said, that's confidence. He said, don't get confidence confused, because I'm confident. I'm confident that I'll make the right decision on your behalf all the time. I'm confident that I'm not going to allow those that haven't been doing the right thing to continue to do the wrong thing. You understand? That's important to me. That should be important to you. Holding the people that we vote for accountable. That's the least that we can do is as our elected officials, you know, to do the right thing. So how do you feel about our elected officials endorsing other elected officials? Now, it's not illegal. The only thing that's illegal about that is that the judge can't endorse anybody. Why? Because a judge is supposed to stay neutral. So he can't come out and voice his opinion. So in the future, I'm letting you know, I won't be able to come out and give my opinion for this person or that person, right? Because I have to remain neutral. I also won't be able to give you any type of advice. I can direct you and make sure that you get the help that you need. That's the beauty of this position, because it becomes more like a ambassador position. So I'm your quarterback. I'm your coach. I'm your resource. You got a problem? There's no such thing as open door policy. When you have my phone number, you ain't got to come. You just call me and we'll talk about it. We'll get you lined up. So that's what everybody else has not been able to offer you over the last 12 years. And that's what I'm suggesting that's going to be available to you, provided that you vote for me.
Yeah, ain't nothing like having that straight direct connect, man. And I want to speak up on leadership because, like you say, you're experienced. You're experienced. You well experienced. So you're not chasing leadership because you come from that. You're not somebody that's chasing leadership in hopes of learning as they go. We don't need nobody in position to learn as they go. We need somebody that already know so this ball can get to rolling instantly, immediately, as soon as you get in that chair, man.
You know, something about leadership, it has a lot to do with genetics. You know, when you're born into an environment that becomes second nature. For me, that's what it was, because I saw my father doing what he did and how he sacrificed and how he had to get out and I'm the first mechanic, right? I'm his go-to guy. He had, hand me this and hand me that. I'm learning, right? So when I sit back and I look at those resources and I look at how much dedication and devotion that it took. Now, he could have simply went to the truck to the shop, paid somebody to do it, but he didn't do that. It was more important for him to save a dollar, because a dollar saved was a dollar earned. And, you know, times were tough. But because he had that nature, I can do it. He did it. And he's been successful doing it. And guess what? My father's still driving at 76. I can't get him to stop because that's in his blood. When you have that type of example for you, it makes living life just a little bit easier. You know, and that's what I want to be able to share with other kids. I'm just inspiration. I'm nobody. Let me tell you that so that I won't mislead anybody. I'm nobody special. Nobody special. I'm just somebody that cares about where I come from. You know, and if we had more people that care about Port Arthur the way I do, and come back and dedicate their time, resources, and knowledge, the 3 T's, you know, time, talent, and treasure. That's what this city needs. It needs people to step up to the plate and, you know, commit something. It may be your time, it may be your talent, it may be your treasure. Whatever it is, bring that thing to the front, put it on the table and say, hey, I want to participate in this shit. Let me put my hands to the work. You know, and nothing wrong with that, because that's what's going to change us. But sitting back and sitting on our hands and not doing anything and then allow somebody else to make a decision and then second guessing that decision, they probably would have made a better decision had you gave them a phone call and say, hey, you know, I agree with you on that issue right there, but man, maybe you might just need to rethink this one. A wise man never refuses counsel. Only a fool does. Right. So if you know somebody that you went to and you try to talk to them about doing something or not doing something, you should consider, if they continue to do it, then automatically, what does that suggest to you? That they're what? A fool. They're not going to listen to reason, or they're not rational thinkers. We have to be more rational in our thinking and be willing to listen to constructive criticism. Again, I said a minute ago, I'm nothing special. I'm just committed. I'm just confident. I'm just capable. You know, and it takes courage to do what I'm doing right now, because in March, I was there by myself. When I filled those papers out in November, I was there by myself. It felt like it was me against the world. But as the campaign took on, a life, all the help in the world started coming. And on March 1st, you showed up and you made a conscious decision to say, I won't change. Well, you did that. I'm Joseph Guillory, and I'm asking you for the same commitment on October the 24th to come out and push that button for Joseph Guillory once again so that we can send a clear message that this is not what we want here in our city.
Right, right. So,
So you got a question on there. Say, tell them what you've been through. Is that you or is that somebody else?
That's somebody else.
Tell them what I've been through. Be specific. You want to know during the election or you want to know during the lifetime?
Yeah, they probably speaking of, as far as life, seeing how you can relate, and that's
so.
Yeah.
So at a young teenage life, we all wild out, right? I can remember, and I remember this vividly because we would go to New Orleans to what they call it,
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras,
Essence.
but it was Essence, the Essence Fest. Yeah. It was something else that we did. About 2 or 3 times we would go. And I was never a drinker. I was always a driver. And we stayed out all night long, doing this process. And I was tired. On the way back, I fell asleep at the wheel. Now, here's the thing. I had passengers with me, and we all walked away. And that wasn't the first time, but that was in 1988. And the reason why I know that, as I told you back in 1993, was the first time I bought my very first house. And we'll talk about that. It was significant. So in 1988, I had just purchased a brand new Pontiac 6000 4-door. I put in 415s, 212s, I had some 8s, and I had some 6x9 mm. I'm talking about this thing thought. I had more music than I had car. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing that we did. That's what we were into then. Mm-hmm. And it sticks out because of that incident. 1988, new car, accident. Didn't tear the car up. Went to sleep, went off the side of the road, spun around a few times, came to a stop, bagged up, put it on the highway, and we rolled on. But that was God's grace and mercy because I could have simply hit a tree and it'd have been over for all of us. But God had something better for us to do. Next year, came back, same thing happened. This time it was the same thing. Put it in reverse, went on home. So there's been times I got hit on a motorcycle over here on Blue Bonnet and DeQueen. I wrecked my 18-wheeler. I tell you about these things because the accidents and incidents that we've seen, people haven't been able to walk away from. And I did. So I owe it all to God. Knowing that was his grace and his mercy. 610, I-10 coming out of Houston. Friend of mine, he cut in front of me on his bike and caused a quick stop. I fell off my bike. My bike slid, and all I can see is God's hand like the seal because that's what the traffic did. The traffic went all around. And if you know anything about I-10, it's about 5 lanes, and I'm still here. That's all I can tell you. So obviously God has something better for me to do, to preserve me this long. I should have been dead a long time ago. To be honest with you, we have taken a lot of chances with our life. We've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of. And as a young adult, these are the same things that our kids are doing that when they get old and mature, they're going to reflect and look back and they're not going to be very proud of those things as well. So it says, Parker car. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Hey, I want to ask y'all a question. Now, how many dads we got in here? Everybody here, father?
Pretty sure everybody.
If somebody call your father and they tell your father, what is that your son doing? He's running against a good man. I need you to talk to that boy. How would that make you feel as a man, as a father, for some other man to call you about your child? Right? So my dad say, and my son, who I raised, is he not a good man too? That was very, very disrespectful. And that happened. That happened. You know, I won't go into details as to who said it, but to have the audacity and that mentality to call my father and ask him not to run against my opponent back in the primary, that was pretty awful. Now, that's only a few things. I'm not going to go into details about all the things that I've experienced during this election because it's been horrible. And I hope that we just continue to rise above. You know, when they go low, we go high. We're just going to sit back. We're going to be quiet just like we've been doing. And we're going to ride this thing out. And we know that victory is already ours. God didn't bring us this far to turn around. Now, he didn't give us a victory over a 3-term incumbent, you know, for us to sit in this position. So we know it's all for a purpose. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Right, right.
Hey, we are fathers in here.
Amen.
Now, being, I respect the boots on the ground program and encouraging kids to get through whatever process, any issues they have in life. What would you recommend the other fathers do in the community that can help you in impacting them?
Man, just show up. Man, just showing up is everything. Because when our kids start seeing us relate to one another, they need an example. They need to see that two grown men can have a legitimate conversation and we could totally disagree. And we could agree to be disagreeable without being disrespectful. And I think that our children, that's a good step. Just showing up. You know, give our kids an example, word of encouragement, because if they keep on seeing us fighting among ourselves and the conversations that we're having at home that maybe we should be having in front of our children, because some of that is our problem too in the community, because our kids, they grow up with this attitude, personality, or perspective about certain things that may not be exactly right or appropriate for their growth. So what I would say to every young man that's out there, whether you have a child or not, step up. Somebody can benefit from your experience. That's a testimony that you have that our kids need to hear, and they need to be able to feel and touch somebody that actually cares about their future and is willing to commit to making things better.
That'll work, man. So could you share with us when does voting start?
October the 24th through November the 4th. That's early voting. So I want to encourage everybody to come out October 24th. Don't hesitate. Come out the very first day, 8 to 5. The polls will be open from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 7 to 7 on Saturday, 12 to 6 on Sunday. And then on Monday, the following Monday, we'll be back at 8 to 5. 8 to 5.
That'll work, man. Well, man, we definitely appreciate you, man, for what you're doing in the community. We encourage, to have somebody who we see their work. It's not, not somebody who we heard about or somebody who's saying what they're going to do. It's somebody that we've been seeing his footprints for years. Man, we appreciate you. And, anything else you want to share, we can.
Now we're just looking at the comments. If there's any other questions out there that you want me to answer, why don't you hit us up? We'll give you a few minutes. And I want to remind you, we're going to be on the Breeze radio station in about 30 minutes at 6 o'clock. We'll be on the Breeze. Okay, I got it. We're going to be on the Breeze radio station at 6 o'clock. It's going to be another forum, another opportunity for you to hear us talk about our platform, another opportunity for you to hear why you should really pay close attention to who's going to represent you in this seat. It's important enough for the Breeze to host it for us so that it'll be another venue, another opportunity. And it's always good when you get the candidates together. It's just something about coming together. You get a chance to hear some things that you wouldn't normally hear, and it gives them a chance to express themselves. So tonight, I want to encourage everyone, tune in to the Breeze radio station. What is that, 96.7? The Breeze? Let me see. Let's make sure. I don't want to misquote. 97 The Breeze. Hold on.
Make sure you let them know how to go vote Monday, too.
let me listen. When you go to vote Monday, here's all the candidates. I know you can't see it, but we're asking that you support this ticket from the top to the bottom. There's no need to do anything else. These are all Democratic representatives, all those who have proven that they can do the job. They're on the Democratic Party. So don't be confused. And for the record, let me clear some things up for those of you who may have heard someone suggest that a write-in is a Democrat. No, sir. No, ma'am. You're either a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, or a write-in. These four do not interchange. So don't let nobody fool you into telling you that, I'm a Democrat, but I'm running as a write-in. Or I'm a Democrat, I'm running as an independent. No, you are simply an independent. What you've done is you have denounced your party affiliation and you have established your own party affiliation. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. If you look it up yourself, there's nothing in the books, nothing on record, nothing in the law that says that there's a such thing as a Republican, independent Republican write-in. It doesn't exist on the Republican side. Surely it doesn't exist on the Democratic side. So those two positions are exactly as they describe. Independent, write-in. And those two are not the same. They're separate. So please do not be fooled by the language that some people are using. It is not the same. Point I'm making, there's been Republicans, Democrats who have given up their Democrat relationship and have turned that in to become a Republican. In this case, there are Democrats who have given up their right to be considered a Democrat by becoming an independent and a write-in. I didn't do it. I just want to make sure that it's clear because I don't want you to be misinformed or misled into believing that you're voting for a Democrat because you're not. Democrats don't do what's being done to Joe Guillory. We are unified. And that's why we're asking you to support the straight ticket for that simple reason, because these are the best candidates for the job that they're applying for.
Got it.
96.9. Tune in to 96.9. The Breeze at 6 o'clock. So I'll be getting out of here. But look, I want to say thank you to my gracious host, Mr. Pct.2.
Yes, sir. Real from the trio.
And for having me, this opportunity to talk to you. Hopefully this was informative. If you have any questions, again, my phone number is 281-804-0820. Feel free to contact me at any time. I'm willing to have an open discussion about whatever it is that you want to know. Oh, the king. My man say the king.
Y'all tap in, man. We're going to make it happen, man. You know what I'm talking about? Who can do it better than this man right here, man?
So I appreciate the time and opportunity to talk to you. So tune in. I'm going to drink me a couple of bottles of water. That mouth got kind of dry. But we're going to go ahead head-to-head. It's going to be a head-to-head battle tonight. And we're going to have one of those in-depth conversations about who is the best candidate for the job. And you'll be able to hear it live. What I like about live, you don't have to worry about it being recorded. So it's not going to be edited. So this is going to be live.
Right.
Just like this is live.
Right on. I got it. Yeah. Yeah, that's the conclusion, man. We finna wrap it up, man. Y'all tap in Monday, y'all vote. Don't make the wrong decision, people. Don't make the wrong decision to where you're gonna regret it later, man. I'm telling y'all now, man. It's not about relationships, emotions, or none of that, man. It's about doing the right thing, man, and making the right decision, man. That's gonna help the community, not just us. Everybody. The community, man. Vote for Joe. I vote for Joe, man. Vote for Joe, man.
We appreciate your consideration.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm out. I think that was fine. So that was all them remarks. So we ought to get some